So how many of you are familiar with filter design concepts? So have you heard before what is filter design or what are filters and so on?
So I'm not sure about designing a filter, but yes, I'm familiar with it.
Okay. What about others? Yeah, you were telling something, Sai Srija?
Yes, like Chebyshev and Butterworth designing of simple filters and all.
Okay, so let me start the discussion with a couple of questions. Okay, then I will move on to the some aspects which I want to discuss. So this topic probably might not have been covered in your course. Okay, and for all BTech, during your BTech curriculum also, for all of you, it may not be discussed. Oh, so I will first try to get some common ground, and then we will discuss few things. So in this one class, I may not be able to discuss much full details of filter design. So I would refer to a video lecture and also to probably for subsequent discussions to know more on this. So first of all, what do you think is the filter? Yeah, I need some quick answers.
A filter is something that extracts the necessary information and removes the things we don't want.
Okay, very good. So you have the input signal, okay, and you have the output signal. Okay, let it be in continuous time domain or in discrete time domain. Okay, so we wish to get some of the information retained in the signal and some information we would like to leave. Okay, or we don't want to pass on through a system. Okay, and that is done through a system. That such system is referred to as filter. Right? Okay, this is fine. So now let us be a little more specific. Okay, what kind of filters do you know? What filters do you know?
So low pass filter, high pass filter, band pass filter.
Okay, very good. So you know about low pass filter. Okay, and then high pass filter. Okay, and then band pass filter. So what does it mean by low pass filter?
Which allowed the lower frequency to pass from
right.
0 to...
Right. 0 to... Yeah. It allows low frequencies to pass. Okay, that see, now assume that we have, we can see the filter design either in continuous time domain or in discrete time domain. Okay, let's first discuss about say continuous time domain here. Okay, and here discrete time. Okay, see here we want to design a filter in frequency domain. Okay, so either in discrete time filter or continuous time filter. Okay, the say system essentially be either in continuous time or discrete time. Okay, that's all is the difference. Okay, and the signals also may be in continuous time or discrete time. Okay, so in continuous time, if you want to design, okay, so assume that now define what is low frequency, high frequency, and so on. Okay, so continuous time filter I want to design. Okay, I want to design, say, assume that I want to design continuous time low pass filter. How do you think will it be? And what are low frequencies here? Similarly, now here the discussion is on the discrete time. Okay, so again I want to design a filter, low pass filter or whatever. Okay, in discrete time. What are the low frequencies and so on? Now, this information I need. Yeah, first let's come from for the continuous time filter and low pass filter. What do you mean by low frequencies? Which are low frequencies?
So I think that would depend upon the situation, right? Like what we are considering as low frequencies and what we are considering as high frequencies.
Okay, fine. Any other answer? Yeah, quick answers are welcome.
Near to zero frequency.
Very good. So the usually it depends upon how high, how low. If I ask, then it depends upon the where we consider in some applications, say in say in some applications, even very megahertz is a low frequency. Okay. In some applications, even some hundreds of thousands of hertz is a high frequency. It differs from application to application. Is it a radio frequency or it a infrared frequency or whatever? The application to application it differs. Okay, but in general, which are low frequencies means near to zero, whichever we have are low frequencies. Okay, so essentially low pass filter, the ideal low pass filter, shape of ideal low pass filter will be something like this, ranging from minus omega naught to omega naught. Right? So this is an ideal low pass filter. Omega naught depends upon the application. Okay, in some applications it will be very small. In some applications this may be reasonably big. Okay, but ideal low pass filter essentially will have this kind of shape. So I'm sketching this in which domain?
Frequency domain.
Yeah, frequency domain. Please make a note of it. Okay. So even though I am designing, it's in continuous time filter I am designing. Okay, h of t is what I am designing. Okay, I am showing the response of the filter in frequency domain because I am describing the filter with frequency content of it. Right? Low pass filter I am saying. Low pass when I mean the frequency content it passes is low frequency. Right? Okay. So now discrete domain, which is low frequency. In discrete domain, which is the low frequency?
In the vicinities of even multiples of pi.
Okay, any other answer?
Same near to zero frequency.
Okay, so more precise answer is needed here. This discrete domain. Okay, you know the the nature of discrete domain. See, first of all, if the signal is discrete, what will happen to the spectrum?
Periodic.
Yeah, periodic. So you should keep that in mind. Okay, whenever you're telling about the low frequency, okay, you should keep that in mind that it is periodic. And the whole spectrum itself is defined from where to where?
Minus infinite to plus infinite.
Minus infinity to plus infinity?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
But sir, we only define minus pi to pi, so because it's periodic in nature.
Yeah. So since it is periodic, we need to define from minus pi to pi this spectrum. Okay, this is good enough. In discrete time, for a discrete time system. Okay. Because h of n is discrete means already it is discrete. So minus pi to pi is what is good enough. Okay. Or minus fs by 2 to fs by 2. Okay. So in terms of the sampling frequency, okay, as we discussed in the last class, R minus ns by 2. Okay, ns is the sampling frequency, minus ns by 2 to ns by 2 or minus fs by 2 to fs by 2. Okay, so this is good enough to define, right? But even this is in discrete, say this is mapping to frequency. Okay, but this is what is the spectrum usually be, right? So now which is low frequency? Now tell. What do we mean by low frequency now?
Vicinity of zero, sir.
Yeah, vicinity of zero. Okay, and at the same time, we say that say pi. What is high frequency in the discrete time filters?
Vicinity of pi.
Right. So this is minus omega naught to omega naught is okay. Low pass filter here. Okay. So now let's also sketch the high pass filter. Okay. Yeah, how will be the say high pass filter here? Say assume that just to have a simplicity. Anyway, I will just try to sketch this little up so that I can sketch the high pass filter also somehow here. Yeah, how will be the high pass filter? Yeah, now tell how will be the high pass filter? In continuous time domain, continuous time filter and discrete time filter.
So the complete opposite of this, meaning
Complete?
it will be zero near the vicinity of zero frequency and non-zero far from zero frequency.
Right. So it is around pi, it has to be non-zero because which is the highest frequency in discrete domain? Which is the highest frequency in discrete domain?
Right.
Fs by 2.
Okay, so around pi it is non-zero essentially. Because it's around pi it is non-zero, or around minus pi it is non-zero. Okay, and here actually we can assume that it is okay up to here. It passes all high frequencies. Okay, it also passes all. Why I am sketching like this? All the time symmetric filters, symmetric frequency responses.
We are taking both positive and negative.
Yeah, that's fine. Why I'm doing like that? So I can only non-symmetric response also I can sketch, right?
So maybe because input sequence will also have a symmetric, so we should use a symmetric response for it.
What's that? Can you repeat again?
So so if we have asymmetric spectrum here, then it might change the entire frequency content of the original signal.
How does it change?
Because what I think.
Let me rephrase my question. Okay, here symmetric spectrum means what in time domain? About h of n or h of t?
Even. Even.
It's even.
Real and even.
It is. It's what?
Real and even.
Yeah, real. Okay. More importantly, it is real. Any real sequence will have symmetric spectrum here. Is it not?
Yes.
So we are assuming that h of n is real or h of t is real. Okay, that's why we are all sketching symmetric spectrums here. Okay. I am sketching about magnitude spectrums only, so it's real only. Okay, so if I say phase is also some even, then or odd, okay, then you can tell even odd there also. Okay. So now the question is, this is the input signal. Okay. So I am sending this input signal through these filters. So what's low frequency here? What is high frequency here in this? X of n. So if I want to extract only one component, low frequency component in this, which term will remain?
The second term.
Second term will remain or first term will remain?
So for a low pass filter, second term will remain.
If I send through low pass filter, second term will remain. Okay, if I send through high pass filter, then
First term.
First term will remain.
So this specific term or the specific frequency in the original signal, okay, can be retained or can be extracted through the system. Okay, and through this filtering operation. So that's what we do in filtering. Okay, this is simple example to demonstrate the filtering. But what do you think are the practice? So this is essentially the what's ideal filters are. Okay, and band pass and band stop filters are other kind of filters. So you know how the band pass filter will be? How do you define or what do you think is a band pass filter?
So which allow band of frequency to pass through it.
Right, that's all. Okay, which allows band of frequencies to pass through it. Minus omega 1 to omega 2. Okay, then again here it's exactly same thing. Omega 1 to omega 2. Okay, so it allows this band of frequencies. Okay, and band stop filter is?
Stops a particular band of frequency.
Yeah, band stop filter, also referred to as notch filter. Okay, notch filter means it will stop only exactly a small band. Okay, that is referred to as notch filter. Okay, so essentially what it does, in some of the applications, you can pass everywhere. You just need to stop a small band. Okay. Or you may need to pass a small band also sometimes. Okay, so this is band stop filter. Okay, so fine. So, yeah. Okay. So now the question is, what's the difference between an ideal filter and a practical filter? Okay, so we will try to see whether these ideal filters, can they be realized or not, first of all. Okay, so if practically, if you want to design some such filter like this, can we design it or not? Okay, is a question. Okay, we'll see some aspects of it. And then we will see that how to design such filters. Okay, so at least if not, ideally this filter, whichever we are thinking as low pass or high pass, okay, can we at least approximately get the response of ideal filters? See, you might have seen did anyone have seen the response of Butterworth or Chebyshev filters? Did anyone have seen the frequency response of them? Yeah. How do they look? Do they look ideally like this?
No, sir, they have ripples.
They have ripples. Okay.
And also
yeah.
they don't have sharp edges.
Oh, what's that?
Sharp edges. No, they don't have sharp edges, sir.
Yeah, they don't have sharp edges. Why do you think so? Why can't we have the ideal filters? So
I think in the analog domain, it could be because of capacitor charging and discharging times.
Okay. So either they will be something like this. If you have seen the filter, they may be something like this. Yes, okay. Sir. Or they may be something like this, right? So this is one kind of filters. Okay, this is other kind of filters. Yes or no? Yes. These are practical filters. Right? So what's the reason for this? Any guess? Any guess on why we can't design a ideal filter? So now let's just think of, okay, so let this be the filter. Okay, we want to design. First of all, let us see to design what's the difficulties we may have.
Discontinuity, sir. Discontinuity.
Yeah, discontinuity. What is the issue with discontinuity?
So there's a sudden change which is not actually possible in the real world.
Okay, let me go to the discrete domain itself. Anyway, we can discuss this either in continuous time domain or in discrete domain. In fact, both discussions are needed, but just for initial discussion, we can have either in one of the domain. Okay, so h of u omega if you have, okay, in frequency domain, and this magnitude of h of u omega is what is shown here. Okay, what will happen to h of n? What is the nature of h of n?
So it would be a sinc function.
Okay, it's a sinc function. Fine, and extends from where to where?
So
Minus
it should be
infinity.
finite. Ideally, it should be from minus infinity to infinity, but we truncate it to for some finite values.
Yeah. Now the question is this: if we wish to get an ideal filter, okay, then h of n will be from, okay, n equal to this is n now. So I have plotted in continuous time, okay, but please note that this is discrete. Right? So this is only discrete. Right. Hope you understand that. No, I am just leaving it. Okay. So h of n, where n goes from minus infinity to infinity. Okay. So this is for the ideal filter. To ideally have this step discontinuity, you need to have actually all samples from minus infinity to infinity, or large number of samples, very large number of samples. Okay. So this is one practical difficulty for designing ideal filters. Okay. H of n extend from minus infinity to infinity. Okay. What is the second difficulty, do you think, to design a practical filter like this? See, what's the nature of this h of n?
So we should have a flat spectrum, I think.
What's
flat
that?
tops. Flat tops, I think.
What do we mean by flat top?
Meaning, in the pass band, it should be flat, and the stop band should also be flat.
Okay, that's okay. That will, but how do you see? Now the question is, what's the difficulty for designing the practical ideal filter? That's the question that we are addressing.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the response. Time domain response. Right? So one difficulty is actually we should have infinitely many samples, okay, to design a ideal filter. Okay, second, what's the second limitation, do you think?
So there is a decrease in the amplitude.
Okay, there is decrease in the amplitude is fine, that's okay. So after a while, they may be close to zero, but at least there is a reasonably large extent of n we have to consider, right? Usually what will happen is, see, for some, see, what happens is each of the designing a filter means what? H of n, okay, there are two different kind of filters. One is infinite impulse response filters. Okay, other kind of filters are finite impulse response filters. What do we mean by finite impulse response filters is? So h of n, if you expand, okay, so if you write it as an into z power minus n. I just wrote in terms of some expansion, or bn into z power minus n. N equal to minus infinity to infinity. Okay, if it goes from minus infinity to infinity, then it is infinite impulse response filter. Okay, but however, if it goes to minus m to plus m, it is finite impulse response filter. Okay.
So I think the second problem in the previous HN was that it was non-causal.
What's that?
In the previous page, you asked what was the second problem. So I think it could be that it became non-causal.
Yeah, very good. So the other issue is that, see, h of n is not 0 for n less than 0. So if it is not, then hence h of n, this system with this h of n, a system with this h of n is not causal. What is the limitation if it is not causal? What is the issue if it is not causal?
The system becomes more complex, I think.
Okay.
Or not feasible. Or
yeah, be clear. You are telling too many things.
So the system becomes unpredictable.
Huh? Yeah, please tell.
System cannot be realized.
Yeah, fine, good. So why is that?
So because it is unpredictable.
Okay, that is also fine. Okay, fine. So you are saying that if it is non-causal, the output depends upon the future inputs. Okay, we don't know what input will come in future. So it's like it's not a realizable system. Okay, so practically you can't do that. So you can only realize causal systems. So it's not realizable. So for these reasons, okay, what we do is when we want to design an ideal or when we want to design a filter, okay, let it be low pass filter, same thing applies to high pass and band pass, other things. Okay, we will take care of two things. One thing is, what do you think we will take care? As indicated by if 1 and 2 points, okay, we will take care of these 2 points while designing the filter, because we need to design filter. So practically when we want to do it, we take these points into account, okay, and account them in different way. Okay, we can't just limit with these points and stop designing the filters. Okay, but still at the same time, these points are real bottlenecks. So how do we take care of these points while designing the filters? If we take care of them in time domain in some sense, then they will reflect again in the frequency domain, and hence leads to, okay, some kind of approximate design of the ideal filters. They may not give you now ideal filters, they will give some approximations to the ideal filters. That's where the kind of 1 and 2 practical filters are coming. Okay, so we will discuss this. How do we take care? Before that, as I started discussing on, okay, there are 2 kind of filters. One kind of filters are infinite impulse response filters. Other kind of filters are finite impulse response filters. In finite impulse response filters, why the name infinite impulse response and finite impulse response? Can one of you tell? By looking at the impulse responses I have written here, why did we call this as finite impulse response filter? And why the first one is infinite impulse?
So FIR is called so because it has finite number of non-zero values.
Okay, for what?
For n greater than 0.
Okay. Be precise, it's not clear what you're trying to tell.
So basically it's for some capital N, small n greater than n, h of n should be 0.
No, don't bother about that. See, what I'm trying to say is why we call finite impulse response filter as what's the name indicate?
Finite
impulse response here.
Finite number of impulses, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, tell Sneha.
Sir, in finite impulse response, if we define output at any point, it will depend on past input or present input. But in IIR, it will keep on depending upon past inputs, and again the past input will depend on past input, and it will not end.
No, say just 1 minute. What you're trying to write is, say y of n is equal to, okay, if I write x of n minus or plus, okay, plus y of n minus 1. Okay, this you are telling it as this corresponds to infinite impulse response filter. Okay,
yes,
is that correct? That's what you're trying to tell?
Yes.
And y of n, if I write it as simply x of n plus x of n minus 1, okay, plus whatever, x of n plus 1 also. Okay, this you are saying, telling it as finite impulse response. Right?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. This is also correct. But there is a simple definition to this finite impulse response and infinite impulse response filters. The definition is what I have given here. There is a simpler way of telling what is finite impulse response and what is infinite impulse response filters. Simply in FIR filters.
So FIR is defined for a specific range.
Okay. You are trying to tell, but you should tell little more crisply. Or yeah. Srija, tell.
Few number of samples are enough to represent H of set, like for a FIR filter, but in case.
Okay. Yeah, fine. So the impulse response is finite. That's all. It will have finite number of non-zero samples in impulse response. Okay, for the finite impulse response filter. So H of n, if you see for this, okay, it will have finite number of non-zero samples in its impulse response. Okay, so that's what is FIR filter. So essentially, see what is difference between signal and the system now. How am I differentiating between filter and system, or system and signal in our discussions now? Can you guess?
Signal is keeps on coming. It samples keep on coming, meaning it is not finite. But while
I am just asking in my discussion. Am I discussing about signals or systems here?
Systems, sir.
Okay, very good. So how am I distinguishing, or how am I representing or conveying it?
H using
impulse response.
Right. So far I'm using only impulse response. Okay. When I am using mainly impulse response, it means that it is a system. Okay. Where is the signal? Signal is this. Okay. Wherein I have put in, okay, input output relationships. Okay. Their signals are there, but I didn't explicitly bring in impulse responses there. That's why actually, if I define the system input output responses, then also I can define infinite impulse response system or a FIR system. Okay, as like Snehal previously was telling. Okay, but that definition also is not difficult, but it relating to impulse response makes it very trivial to understand with the definition itself. Okay, but with the name of the abbreviation itself. Okay, so FIR filter means finite impulse response filter. Okay, so where the impulse response of that system will have finite number of non-zero elements. Okay, and in fact finite band of non-zero impulse response. So after some band of impulse samples, it should be 0. Okay, so even in IAR filter there may be some intermediate samples that may be 0. But we don't count it. We assume that it's the extreme samples will be from -infinity to infinity. Okay. So IAR filter means it will have infinite number of terms in its impulse response and infinite number of non-zero coefficients. Okay. In impulse response. See, ideally a filter H of n, when we write this as also we represent like this. This is referred to as each of these things are referred to as coefficients of the filters. B of n z1 minus 1 and so on. So these are the coefficients of the coefficients of the filter or coefficients of the impulse response. See, why do we call this as coefficients of the filter R? Sorry, I am mixing H of n and H of z, right? So what you people are doing? What am I writing? H of n I am writing or H of z I am writing?
H of z.
Yes. Where is H of n? I have not written here. No, so in fact, H of n I would have written inside. Okay. So this itself is H of z. So Bn also you can use, it's fine, but you can also use S. So this is H0. Okay, and this is H1 and so on. Right? So this is the impulse response. H of n is equal to B of n here. So h of n, when we see these are quotients of the h of z polynomial. If you see h of z as a polynomial, like you are doing b and a, right? So h of z as a polynomial having numerator and denominator. In such case, what will happen? So this is the quotients of the polynomial. Okay, numerator polynomial in Z. Okay, and nothing but the impulse response quotients only are the numerator quotients polynomial. Okay, but whereas here they are slightly different. Okay, if you see this in this case, in IR case, they are not like that. Okay, they are slightly different. So we will see that IR case little later. Okay, so now in this case, if you want to realize this filter, how do you think you will realize? Any idea on how we practically realize this? Assume that just for our simplicity, we have h of z is equal to 1 plus z inverse minus 2 z power minus 2. This is what we want to realize. That means we want to have this system in place. Okay, which will apply this kind of thing. Okay, so how do you realize it? Is the question.
Sir, we can take 3 impulses.
Huh?
We can take 3 unit sample sequences.
Okay.
And then convolve that with the signal.
No, I am asking realizing means hardware I want,
okay.
Not the simulation.
So I think what we can do is take 3 branches. One passes the signal as it is. One introduces a unit delay, and the other introduces 2 delays, 2 unit of delays. Or we can use the second branch to derive that as well. Yes, sir. And then we can use a scaling factor of -2.
Let me just put in slightly different way. Okay, one will take 1 unit of delay. So you people have seen this anytime?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, where did you see?
In control system.
In control systems you have seen. Very good. Okay, good.
In the second branch, we can introduce a -2 scaling factor.
Yeah, so you in each of the one actually now you have actually h of 0. Okay, this is h of 1, right? And this is h of 2. Am I correct? And then you will add multiplying with h of 2. H of 0 is this. Okay, h of 1 is this. You know that, right? And h of 2 is this. Okay, and then you multiply respectively and then add. Right? And then put together. Okay, this is also an adder. Okay, and then put together what you have is anyway, this is x of n and this is y of n. What I'm realizing, this whole thing is nothing but the system. Right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if we want actually, given this h of z, if you want y of n, x of n relation, what do we do? So this, we know that h of z means that h of n I can write from here. Okay. H of n equal to what? Delta n plus delta
n minus 1.
Minus 2 times
2
delta n minus 2. And using this and convolution, I can write x of n plus x of n minus 1. Okay. Minus 2 times x of n minus 2. That's what I have realized here. Okay. This is realized. Okay. So this is referred to as structure. So this signal flow graph is what they call this one. If I just put the arrows and represent this. Okay. And this is actually, this can be represented in different ways. Okay. So you have actually direct form 1, direct form 2, and then cascade form. If you have 2 systems, how to represent. So even a bigger system with large number of quotients is broken down into like each is second order polynomials. Okay, this is a second order polynomial in Z, right? H of Z. So this H of Z, if it is 10th polynomial having 10 quotients, it will be broken into 5 second order polynomials. H1 into H1 of Z into H2 of Z into H3 of Z into H4 of Z into Hy of Z. Each is second order polynomial. And then you can realize this as cascade of 5 systems. Okay, like that. So there are different ways of realizing the systems. This is how the realization happens. Okay, realizing in hardware. We put these are all what? These are all what? Delays. So essentially to realize the system, what you need? Any system. Okay, if you want to realize FIR system, for example, what you need? You need delays. What else?
Summation.
Adders.
Adders.
And?
Amplifiers.
Amplifiers.
Yeah, amplifiers. Okay, and then?
Attenuators.
Multipliers.
Yeah, multipliers. Okay, so multipliers are amplifiers you have called, but multipliers. Okay, delay, multiply, and add. That's all. Okay, these three primitive systems, if you have, you can design. For doing this effectively, you may use op amps, you may use transistors, or you may use something else. Okay, so that's a different matter. But essentially, this is what is done for any realizing of any of the systems that you have. Right? So now, if this is actually the system is the output of the system depends upon future inputs, then you can't realize. Okay, essentially, that's because you need to put delays, adders, and multipliers together, right? So you only have delays, you don't have advancers. Okay, so that's the difficulty. Okay, fine. So IR systems now is from minus infinity to infinity. We also have said that this corresponds to IR system. Okay, can one of you comment why this corresponds to infinite impulse response system?
Because no matter how much for any n, the yn will always depend upon the previous y.
No, that's all fine. Verbally telling fine, but if I consider h of z for this, okay, it is what? 1 by 1 minus z inverse. Is it not? You can just easily find out z transform for this and you can see this. Okay, and then h of n now is equal to what? This is equivalent to what? Okay, 1 minus z inverse plus z power minus 2 minus z power minus 3 plus z power minus 4 and so on. Is it not? Okay, it extends up to infinity. That's why this is an IAR system, right? And this impulse response is infinite. Okay, it has infinite terms in it. Is this fine or not? Okay, so and ideally you can't realize, but you can still realize it because in a polynomial, if you consider, you have actually feedback you can bring in. Once through feedback, you can realize it easily. Okay, so if you see in this h of n, you can't do that. Okay, but considering x of n and y of n terms, okay, you can see that what's happening. Input, okay, I can bring in feedback somehow. Okay, so from output to input, I can go. Right? Given that I can still realize this IR filters. Okay, IR and causal, both are different. Hope you people understand it. Okay, if I want to realize x of n is here. Okay, so I have actually, so essentially this I want to realize, right? So what I do here? Oh, so I will send it, so this is x of n will go directly. Okay, and then output with a delay. Okay, this is y of n, assume that. Okay, output with the delay will go back and add. Okay, essentially here. Okay, so one term is input will go directly. I think y of n, what will happen? Y of n with delay will get added to the input. So let me bring in y of n here.
Sir?
Yeah.
I have a question that you said that non-causal systems are not realizable.
Right.
So suppose we have a system which takes xn and xn and the next value, which is xn plus 1. So can't we just take two values of xn at a time?
What's that?
Sir, suppose y of n is equal to x of n plus x of n plus 1.
Right.
So if you wanted to realize this, can't we just use two values of xn at a time?
Yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah. I think there is some small. Okay. X of n, and then from y of n you are getting here. Also, what you get here is y of n plus y of, so x of n plus y of n minus 1. Right? I think this is fine. Right. Also, roughly this will be like this. Okay, so it will come back with feedback, and then you will get y of n. Right? Yeah, you tell now.
Sir, I was asking that if we have a system like y of n is equal to x of n plus x of n plus 1.
Okay.
So can't we just take two values of xn at a time?
Two values of
xn at a time.
See, you can do that. See, in images, essentially we do that. So what will happen? You should have the x of n plus 1 at your hand, right? Okay, and you have actually say, if you are at time step like 20, okay, what you are giving the output is at 19 only. You are not giving 20th output.
Okay.
So that's what you are doing, is it not?
Or we can just wait for the next value.
Yeah, that's what. So you need to wait for the next value and do it. So it's as if you are not doing, so you are giving the output for the previous thing. Okay, you are looking at now and giving the previous one. So that's not really causal, right? Okay, with respect to the instant where you are. Right. Okay. So that's fine. So this is the roughly discussion on FIR and IAR systems. Okay, filters. And now let's come back to the discussion. So we have seen that one thing is there is an infinite impulse response that limits the practical ideal filter. Second thing is the causality is the other one which will impede the practical implementation. So what are the suggestions? Now, how should be the filter then? Any suggestion? How should the practical filters be?
They should have finite values.
Instead of finite values.
Yes, sir.
So what we do is, anyway, we can't have infinite number of terms in H of n. So we have to truncate somewhere. Okay, truncating can be done anywhere. Okay, well, how do we do truncation? So we consider only limited number of, okay, H of n sequence values. But which one do we take? Say we can also take from 0 to some 20 samples. Okay, or we can take from -10 to 10 samples. It's up to us. So we do in such a way that the concentrated information is with us. Okay, or the maze, wherever the H of n is very small. Okay, there it's nothing wrong to truncate or leave them. Okay, but wherever the magnitudes are high, if we lose them, the shape of the filter itself will change. Okay, so to have the minimal loss, we consider windowing. This is referred to as windowing. We put a window, okay, around centric around 0 here. Okay, window is in time domain or in frequency domain?
Time.
Window is in time domain. Okay, and hence consequence will happen in frequency domain. Remember it. Okay, so and then we are truncated from -10 to +10 values. So we have now finite impulse response filter. Okay, from -10 to +10 or length of with a impulse filter length of 21. Okay, so here the filter, say if it is 0 to m, the length of filter. Okay, m is called length of the filter. Okay, number of quotients of the filter also. Cost of filter is being determined by whom? So which will determine the cost of the filter in realization?
Delay units and...
Yeah, delay units and adders and multipliers. But for a given length of the filter, okay, you can, the m is the one which decides the cost of the filter. Okay, so the essentially higher the length of the filter, higher is the cost of realization of it. Okay, so that's one guiding principle here. Okay, however, see, IR filters will have much smaller lengths compared to FIR filters. Okay, because IR filters usually will have numerator and denominator polynomials. We don't usually realize this like this. Okay, we will have actually, this one we will better write it as, okay, numerator and denominator. We write it as actually sigma Bn z power minus n by sigma An, okay, z power minus m or whatever. So, and both are from 0 to or 1 to m or whatever. So you have the polynomial that you people are familiar, right? So same thing will come even here, 0 to whatever. So n1 or n1 and n2. Okay, something like this. So this is how the form of IR filter will be, and usually the number of coefficients in IR filter will be much lesser than FIR filter coefficients. Okay, the reason being you have numerator and denominator. Each denominator term is giving infinite. Okay, number of okay, response in terms of infinite number of like delays. Okay. However, the properties, in terms of properties, we see that FIR filters are easy to handle because they are more stable. Because no poles, right, in FIR filters. So and hence they are more stable. No poles means they are stable. Okay. In IR filters, you need to worry about the stability. You need to see whether they are stable or not. Okay, based on the location of poles, right? So these are broadly some differences. Okay, now coming back to this discussion, we apply one thing that we apply is, so one thing that we apply is on the truncation. Okay, so other thing that we do is delay. Because to make this causal, what we do, since the length of the filter is from -10 to 10, we delay it. Okay, so we delay it by 10 units. Then what will happen? So we start from here. So h of n now, after doing these operations, okay, it looks like the modified h of n. Okay, will be how will that be this 0 here? Okay, so impulse response, I am just plotting the okay. So this is how it will be. So you can see that this is how the impulse response will be. Okay, so these are all the samples, and then 0 to 21 for 20. Okay, this is the impulse response, and this will give, okay, some kind of h of e power j omega now. H practical e power j omega. Okay, and this is practical filter. Okay, so because I have done truncation, okay, I am multiplying with a window function and also a delay. Both will have a consequence here. Okay, so what I do is I will leave it to you now for as a homework to give the effects of these things. You can of course follow the video lecture I have shared, okay, and then understand better. But I will discuss this in the next lab, okay, or if we find in between some slot, I will discuss that in more detail. Meanwhile, what I would suggest is you try to understand them, and then we will discuss on how like the lab sheet can be done. So just to give a idea here, so we are truncated with a rectangular window there, right? So it's nothing but convolution with a sinc function here. Okay, and hence the whatever the ideal filter you have will not be like that. So in practice, you will get a filter that's realized, that's approximated version of it as something like this. Okay, something like this. Fine. So why is this like this? Because you multiplied with a rectangular window there. So in frequency domain, what will happen? Convolution with this and sinc function will happen. Okay, so this is window frequency response. Fine. And this is the ideal filter frequency response. Convolution of these two essentially will lead to, okay, the something like this. right? So this will give a practical filter of this sort. Okay, and then since you have delayed here, this will also give a magnitude response. If you see, this is magnitude response only. So if you see h of e power j omega, h practical of e power j omega, that will be e power minus j, okay, 2 pi by m plus 1 or something, okay, terms the h of e power j omega. Okay, so essentially what will happen, there will be also be a phase term because of the shift in time domain. These two are the effects of, so this is based on the shift, and this is based on the convolution operation here, truncation operation in time domain. Both will have an effect, and hence the practical filter will not be exactly same as the ideal filter. Okay, and then the specifications of practical filter will be, okay, slightly different than the ideal filter. So ideal filter, if I want to specify, what I do is I will just specify only say minus omega naught and omega naught. That's all. Okay, so I will need not specify any other thing. Cutoff frequency is good enough to specify. Whereas here I can specify, in the practical filter, I need to specify where the pass band starts. Okay, where the pass band stops, or wherever the stop band stops, wherever the pass band starts. So the cutoff frequency for pass band, cutoff frequency for stop band. Okay, I will specify two things, not just one thing. Because here, if I consider this is minus omega 1, okay, and then minus omega 2, and then omega 2 and omega 1. What is omega 1? Omega 1 is what? Okay, stop band cutoff frequency. Okay, whereas omega 2 is pass band cutoff frequency. Okay, or pass band cutoff frequency, from where the pass band starts. Okay, if you see this side. Okay, if you see this side, from where the pass band stops. Okay, so that is pass band cutoff frequency. From where the stop band starts is the stop band cutoff frequency. Okay, so and then the gap between these two is referred to as transition band. So a practical filter is defined by transition band, okay, which is in turn defined by stop band cutoff frequency and pass band cutoff frequency. Okay, and in each of the bands, there will be ripples. So we need to see how much is the maximum ripple that we can allow. See, in some cases, I may not be able to allow much ripple. Okay, in some cases, I may be able to allow much ripple, but I want the stop band cutoff frequency and pass band cutoff frequency to be as close as possible. Or the transition band has to be as small as possible. I want to sharply reach from stop band to pass band and pass band to stop band. Okay, so in that case, what I need very short transition band. Okay, or sharp transition. Okay, so I may need sometimes short transition band. Okay, or sharp transition. Okay, this may be priority in some cases. Okay, in some other cases, what's the priority? The priority may be, say, having ripple, lesser ripple. Stop or pass band. Or lesser ripple in both stop and pass band. Okay, it's design considerations. Okay, so one can say that I am okay with having slightly higher ripple in the stop band, but pass band has to be as good as possible. Okay, so that's one design consideration. Other people may say that stop band has to be completely stopped. If it is for defense, for example, okay, you can't allow anything, any ripple in stop band. Okay, so you should stop it. And then pass band, you can have a small ripples. So, and transition band, in some cases, it can be wide transition band. Okay, and so this is delta stop band. this is 1, around 1, right? So this height usually we consider as 1. Okay, 1 is the ideal height. So 1 minus delta P, 1 plus delta P. Whereas delta P is referred to as, or delta S are ripples in dB. Decibels. Okay, so what I would suggest is you go through once the video lecture. Okay, then we will try to discuss the lab sheet. But what I would do is just to facilitate you to do the lab sheet to some extent, or to start onto the lab sheet. Okay, I will discuss some of the aspects in the lab sheet now. Okay, so so far whatever I have discussed, is this clear? Any questions here? Because these are all the new things which you might not have studied recently. Okay, any questions are welcome. I may need to go for class committee meeting. Okay, but I think some quick questions I will take, and we'll have a small discussion. Okay, on the lab sheet, and then plan to go there. Any quick discussion, any quick points? Yeah, no questions?
No, sir.
Okay, it's all clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it is clear, I will ask questions. Okay, my questions, probably let's start with my questions. So who will decide how much will be the transition band? Huh?
Us?
Who will decide?
Omega 1 and omega 2.
Very good. But who will decide omega 1 and omega 2? See, anyway, you can fix in design, but how do we know which is the parameter that will help me to achieve that?
Window length, sir.
Okay, very good. So, how should be the window length? Can you give, say, if I want short transition band, window length should be smaller or
More.
Huh?
More, sir.
Okay, short transition band I need. Short transition band means it has to be as low as possible.
Window length should be more, sir.
Window length should be
more.
Okay, why?
So we would have more number of samples, so it would approach more ideal conditions.
Okay, very good. So essentially, see, that's one way of telling. So is there any other way you can tell? Why window length? Anyway, good point that you people have mentioned is window length delta W is being depends upon the window length. But why did you say that?
Something related to slope?
Huh?
Slope, sir.
Okay. It's the slope. Okay, where is the slope? So who will decide the window length? You mentioned that, transition band length. Okay, is depend upon or proportional to, you said, okay, delta W depends upon window length. Okay, of window length or length of WN, right? Correct? Yes or no? Window length or length of WN? Sequence WN, yes, right? So now, where is the relation? Essentially, how did you say that? There is a missing link.
That is inversely proportional, sir.
Okay, inversely proportional. Very good. So I agree that it is inversely proportional. Okay, but where is that link? Okay, so the link is here, right? So if we have already put window length here. That's why there is a truncation. So this is the window length, WN, right? So this is M. The length of the filter is M now, right? Length of the filter depends upon the window length. So the window length is essentially equal to length of the filter. Do you agree or not? They are essentially equal to length of the filter, right? Or m plus 1. If I consider 0 to m, it is m plus 1, right? So if I consider previously, I skipped because of a little bit of assuming that you understand and also to discuss a little more details. Okay, so here it starts from minus m to m or 0 to m, minus m by 2 to m by 2 or 0 to m. In that case, the length of the filter is m plus 1, right? So now if it is m plus 1, then the frequency response of it, how does it look like? The frequency response of it is nothing but this, is it not? Discrete time Fourier transform if you take this. And where is m coming again here? Where is the window length playing?
So at
What
the zeros?
is this point?
At the zeros?
This is essentially equal to what?
Sir, the zeros of the DTFT.
Okay, if you take minus pi by m and this is pi by m. Okay, so you can see that this sequence, this is equal to sine, this is in function. Okay, essentially, if I'm correct, sine pi by m into omega by sine omega by 2. Okay, something like this, it will come. Okay, this is a discrete sync, as you know. Okay, so and hence this will come as like this. And this is 2 pi by m or m plus 1. So as the length of the filter, I said m plus 1. Now this is 2 pi by m plus 1. So this is this is referred to as main lobe. Main lobe of what? Main lobe of window function. Right? So main lobe of window function is nothing but, what's the main lobe of window function?
The passband?
Yeah, it's no, it's not passband. It's what? Still you people are not able to relate. What's that? Will affect where will it sit? Is equal to 2 pi by m plus 1. It is exactly equal to what? Transition band. Why is it so? Because here what you see, convolution operation happens. So this will slide. Okay, this will keep sliding here. So what will happen? Main lobe is higher means during that's how where the transition happens from here to here. Is it not? So higher the main lobe width, it will transition band will be higher. Lesser the main lobe width. If this is, say, ideally, this main lobe width is 0. Okay, if this is an impulse, this W is an impulse, then what will happen? What will happen if this is an impulse? Here it is a convolution operation. Hope you people understand. If this is impulse, what will happen?
Convolution with sign, sir.
Yeah, see, convolution with, say, this is this becomes ideally, if this becomes an impulse, okay, and then you are doing convolution of, see, here, practical filter is nothing but the convolution of, okay, the ideal filter plus window function. Why it is convolution here? Why I have written like this?
Because we are multiplying it in time domain.
Yeah, in time domain, HP of n is equal to h of n multiplied with window of n. Okay, so that's why it is convolution. Now, if W of n e power j omega is a impulse function, okay, then what will happen after convolution?
We will get the ideal as it is.
That's all. HP will be equal to h. Okay, so but that won't happen because if this is impulse, means in time domain Wn will be
constant.
Constant from where to where? Wn will be
Wm.
Minus infinity to infinity. Is it not? You people are following or not?
Yes.
Yeah, if it is minus infinity to infinity, no truncation is happening. What are we doing? So we are not
we are taking infinite values.
Yeah. And then it will even be non-causal also. Okay, so you can't shift infinitely.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so such problems will happen. So you need to truncate. If you truncate it, the influence is that you will have some finite main lobe width, and that main lobe width is nothing but exactly equal to transition band. Okay, so this is the key for design of the filters. Okay, so usually transition band width is what they specify. Okay, but transition band width we don't have clue with. We will be only given length of the filter because that's what practically happens. Okay, so transition bandwidth is important in terms of which frequencies to send. Okay, which frequency not to send. Okay, what is the short transition between cutoff, like attenuated frequencies and the passing frequencies, pass and stop band frequencies. Okay, but what we realize is the length of the filter. So this information is one of the very important thing. Second important thing is who will decide the ripple? Higher the ripple or lesser the ripple, who will decide?
The side lobes.
Huh?
The side lobes.
Okay, so for side lobes, very good. So what essentially we are doing for designing a filter, we are convolving this with a window function. Okay, window frequency response. Okay, because this is h of e power j omega, and window is coming because you are truncating in time domain and you are convolving. And we just said that the main lobe width, so minus pi by m to pi by m, will affect the transition band. Okay, this essentially is being considered by transition band. Okay, and then the side lobes are there, right? Height of the side lobes, they will essentially bring in, if you do convolution here. Okay, so what's happening here? You have an ideal filter like this. Okay. So on the top of, on this ideal filter, okay, if you are doing, okay, if we are performing convolution through a window function, okay, you will be getting like this. Where are these ripples coming from? Coming from the side lobes. Okay, so the height of the side lobes, these ripples delta P and delta S depend upon proportional to what? Height of side lobes. See, but how do you adjust the height of the side lobes? How do you decrease the ripples? Any answer? Say, I want to decrease the ripple in some application. How do I decrease? I have actually original impulse h of n with me. Okay, h of n is like this. This is in time domain again. Okay. Discrete only. Okay, I am plotting continuous but discrete. Okay, and I want to, I am applying a filter. I am applying a window, sorry, in time domain. Okay, that's Wn. Okay, I want to decrease the ripples now. How do I decrease? Any answer?
I can multiply a scaling factor.
Huh?
To the, I can multiply scaling factor to the entire sequence.
No, that won't help. Okay, what
or
you
we can
do
increase
is,
the width of the main lobe.
No, that also won't help. Yeah, you can increase the width of the main lobe and decrease the ripples to some extent, but even then there is phenomena called Gibbs phenomena. Okay, so the height of the main lobes will remain constant. Okay, with respect to the height of the side lobes remain constant with respect to the height of the main lobe. So they won't decrease. They will be say always 13 dB down. That's all. Okay, for a rectangular window. So this is referred to as rectangular window. This is referred to as say this different window. This is actually Hamming window. And there is another window called Hanning window. Okay, so based on the shape of the window, you can adjust the ripples in the of the ripples are the height of the side lobes. So if you want to change the ripples, okay, just a minute. You need to change the shape of the window itself to change the height of the side lobes. So what I would suggest is, you people meanwhile go through. I will join back since the discussion is not complete. I will probably join back to the lab. Okay, if you prefer. Otherwise, we will discuss on some other day. So this lab sheet anyway you can take if you want little more time. Okay. So I would suggest you to go through the lab sheet once. Suravardhan and others keep discussing the lab sheet once to see how much clear they are. I will join back in another 15 minutes. Thank you then. Bye.